Hello, my name is Tania Dominguez, and today our group will be discussing childhood obesity. Childhood obesity is a medical condition where a child has an overall extra amount of body weight that can affect the child's overall health. Doctors determine if they're overweight by using the body mass index, or abbreviating it to BMI. If the child is above the 95th percentile for their age and the gender, the doctor would then take the steps on letting the parents know that their child is obese. This could affect the child's long term mentally and physically, which is why they always want to let the parents know so we can do anything in our being to avoid it. Join us as we tell you everything about how we determine what the outcomes, public view, determinants, and of course, the prevention is of childhood obesity.
Hello, my name is Wendy Mora, and I focus on the background of childhood obesity. Based on my research, childhood obesity is a condition in which a child has excess body fat for their height and age. This is more common than you think. For example, this is measured by using a BMI, which stands for body mass index. Children are then measured, and depending on their percentile, that is what considers them obese. This condition can be caused by many factors such as diets, physical activities, and environment. This can cause the probability of a long-term chronic disease in a child to go up. Why does childhood obesity matter? Childhood obesity matters since this can be a very serious health condition and it can lead to several long-term health problems including diabetes, high blood pressure, and breathing difficulties at a very young age. These are conditions that a child should never go through, which is why it's very, very important that parents are able to know the importance of childhood obesity and the long-term diseases that can continue into adulthood.
Hello, my name is Alex Don, and I focused on the public health effects and the outcomes. Childhood obesity has become an epidemic and a rapidly growing public health issue. Rates have been steadily climbing over time, more than doubling in the past 3 decades. Currently, about 1 in 3 children are affected. Childhood obesity has increased by many factors, including behavioral, environmental, and genetic factors. A combination of these factors all contribute to the growing rates in the United States, and while childhood obesity has become one of America's biggest public health issues. Childhood obesity, specifically in the United States, affects millions of children currently. Although it does affect a lot of children, there is a higher risk in children in minority, low income communities that contain little to no amenities. This could include, but not limited to, less access to healthy food, not having access to safe environments for physical activity, and having limited access to general health care. These issues affect children physically and psychologically, leading to long term issues that may impact the future. Childhood obesity has been linked to many severe health issues. It can increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, stroke, Crohn's disease, arthritis, insulin resistance, asthma, and many more serious diseases. Not only does childhood obesity lead to severe diseases, but it directly affects all the organ systems of a child, leading to issues in some systems such as the cardiovascular system, respiratory system, and endocrine system, to name a few. Because of these many different health outcomes, childhood obesity has also been associated to premature death and increases the risk of premature death. Childhood obesity doesn't only affect a person's childhood, but may also lead to long term impacts into adolescence and adulthood. Many children who are obese are more likely to remain obese into adulthood. In addition to being more likely to stay obese into adulthood, childhood obesity has also been linked to future rising healthcare costs, decreased productivity, and poor academic achievements. Childhood obesity may also lead to many different mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and many more that can persist into adulthood. Overall, childhood obesity has a huge impact in not only a person's childhood, but also into their future lives.
Determinants of health. Getting started with the determinants, I'm going to talk about the cultural and educational factors that play into obesity in children. Coming from a culture that doesn't really pay much attention to the nutrients that they could be cooking or giving to their children, it could usually lead to unhealthy eating patterns from them. The kids usually pick up on their habits from the example they get on at home. School is very important because they spend a lot of time there. In public school, they always have limited resources on giving them a proper nutrients education or even physical education. I think it's very important that the kids and the parents are given the correct resources so they could learn how to properly give their children the correct nutrients they need for the ages that they are growing into. Another factor of determinants of health would be the socioeconomic status of the family. Children from lower income backgrounds tend to not have the best resources to complete a balanced diet. Their parents will rely on easy food, fast, frozen, cheaper food. Again, tying back to the past slide, growing up in a home that does not have a proper routine that can teach them from the beginning on how to get good habits could delay them wanting to make a change in their life. Due to the world evolving today, kids are more indoor dealing with screen time, like iPads or Xboxes or PS4s. But it's also not helping that the neighborhoods that are currently in our city do not have any safe spaces for them to be active, and also enough resources at the parks alone to want them to go outside. It's very uncommon to go out and see kids riding their bikes or playing with others around the neighborhood. So these are all examples that factor in increasing the risk of childhood obesity.
All right, now we're going to focus on prevention. Preventing child obesity can start with healthy habits. Creating a healthy lifestyle early in a child's life, which can start with a healthy diet. For example, you can limit sugary drinks or sugary food or fatty foods. Another way you can obtain a healthy habit is encouraging your child to stay physically active every day, which can include sports or exercising or outdoor playing, even if it's only for 30 minutes. Practicing these healthy habits with your child can help prevent childhood obesity or any medical conditions that can affect your child's health. All right, moving to another prevention that can help a child is support from a family member or a caregiver. Parents and caregivers play a very important role in shaping a child's lifestyle and their health. This can include access to a safe place or access to healthy food options or habits. This can also include school, in which the caregiver would be the teacher, or at home with a parent or even the child's physician, which can help guide a child into the right path in having a healthy lifestyle.
Same for the Q&A. We all looked up frequently asked questions about childhood obesity, and these were some of the three. What are the causes of childhood obesity? It is caused by different factors that are genetics and lack of physical activity, which is caused by not having a safe space to exercise. Another one is, how can schools reduce childhood obesity? The CDC says school is where they spend most of their time. If they could provide healthier food options, maybe offer a class for them to observe diet and good habits. Another one the CDC says is, can childhood obesity be prevented? Yes, it can be prevented. Parents could limit screen time and help them involve themselves with family time so they could get in their regular physical activity. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to our PowerPoint and letting us educate and talk to y'all about what we learned about childhood obesity.